So this video provides an overview of project managers. But before we get started, let me mention that if you're interested in becoming a certified project manager, there's lots of free certification prep materials at projectprep.org. Okay, so there's 3 questions that we want to answer through this video. What is a project manager? What do they do? And how do you become one? Okay, so a project manager is someone who leads a team responsible for delivering a temporary initiative. A project is something temporary at our company. It has a start and it has a finish. The project manager is leading those. And their goal is to deliver those projects on budget, on schedule, and on scope. That's what they're measured against. Here's some example projects we could run at our company. Maybe create a smartphone application, design a video game, build and launch a rocket, or clean up a hazardous waste site, build a website, or construct a road. Obviously, there's lots of possible projects that we could be running in our company. And I did a quick search just to give you an idea of some of the companies hiring project managers right now. This is a small list, but basically almost every company needs project managers to help them run these temporary initiatives and keep them on budget, on schedule, and on scope. So now let's talk in detail about what a project manager actually does. So here's an example of some common project management activities they might perform. They might develop schedules, estimate costs, define scope or the work of the project, acquire the resources, the labor and material they need, and identify risks. These are just a few of them, but they're probably the most common activities performed. But I think what might be even more helpful here is to talk about what a day in the life of a project manager might be like. So let's imagine this project. They're leading an effort to design a new smartphone. And so let's walk through their day. So maybe at 8 a.m. on their way to work, they call their overseas project team members to talk about the status of last night's activities. So oftentimes, we have teams that are working across the world. And so maybe while the project manager was sleeping, there was an overseas team working on prototypes. And so they call them in the morning to talk about how things went. And then maybe at 9 a.m., the project manager gets in, they review expenses from last month and compare those actual expenses to the plan. Now, this is an important principle in project management. Oftentimes, we take a look at the plan and compare it to what actually happened. And maybe what the project manager realized as they were going through this, that certain parts or materials were more expensive than they originally thought. So they overspent. But they built contingency or backup into their plan just in case or for events like this. And then maybe at 11 a.m., they meet with their project sponsor, the person funding the effort, and provide them an overall status. And this could be a weekly standing meeting. And then maybe what they also do is share new risks that were identified. The project manager talks about those risks, their probability of occurring, what the impact might be if it does happen, and what response plans you're implementing. And then maybe at lunchtime, the project manager meets with another PM where they share lessons learned, determine how to apply things that are working well in each of their projects. Then maybe at 2 p.m. later in the afternoon, the project manager calls a key contractor in the project. So on projects, we often need help from outside parties. We oftentimes can't do everything on our own. So maybe this phone company is working with another contractor or contractor to design the cases and cables. And maybe the project manager is going to deliver feedback on the prototypes of cases and cables that the contractor provided. And then maybe later in the afternoon, the project manager meets with a lead engineer and they review results of destructive testing. And so maybe what was identified was that the phone passed the waterproofing test, but it failed the drop test. Maybe it cracked on asphalt when it was dropped from 10 feet. And so the lead engineer and the project manager talk about next steps for addressing the issues. And then later in the afternoon, before the day finishes, the project manager goes in, updates the project schedule based on feedback from the team, and then reviews tomorrow's activities to get ready for those. So this is potentially what a day might be like in the life of a project manager. Okay, so here's the last question. How do you become a project manager if you'd like to do so? And the first thing I'll say is that there's lots of project management jobs out there. There was a report that was published that said by 2027, employers will need to fill 88 million project management roles. All you have to do really is go to Indeed.com and search for project management, and you get an idea of just the volume of demand that's there. Now, here's one caution that I'll give you, is that on average, about 118 people apply for a single job. That's not just for project managers, but that's more generally just for all types of jobs. And what we want is to help your resume move up the stack. And so we've got another video that's called 10 Tips for Getting a Job in Project Management, we've got a video and a cheat sheet available at projectprep.org that walks you through those 10 tips. Now, one of the key tips that we provide is to get certified, to get either a PMP, a project management professional, or a CAPM, a certified associate in project management. So these are two of the most common certifications. A PMP is if you have a few years of project management experience. A CAPM is if you're just breaking into the field. It's an entry-level project management certification. And so if you're interested, we have lots of free certification prep materials over at projectprep.org to help as you prepare. And one final note we'll offer here is that if you're looking for additional certifications, a great combination with project management is a Lean Six Sigma certification. These two things pair well together on a resume. If you're interested in a free white belt certification course, that's a Lean Six Sigma certification, there's one available through our sister organization, Six Sigma Society. If you take the course, at the end, you'll get this certificate.